Now, our planet is broken. That's what the Secretary General of the United Nations will warn today, and that humanity is waging a suicidal war on nature. In a special BBC broadcast, Antonio Guterres will also announce that tackling global warming is now the central objective of the UN next year. Here's our Chief Environment Correspondent, Justin Rolat.
2020 has been a year of dramatic weather extremes. Greenhouse gas concentrations are still rising in the atmosphere despite the COVID-19 lockdowns, says the head of the United Nations. In a speech to be broadcast later today exclusively on BBC News, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres will say there is no vaccine for the planet.
Biodiversity is collapsing, deserts are spreading, oceans are choking with plastic waste, and apocalyptic fires and floods, cyclones and hurricanes are the new normal.
Terrible wildfires raged across Australia, burning vast areas, and there were huge wildfires in California and even Arctic Siberia. The UN Secretary-General says the world now faces a moment of truth.
Every country, city, financial institution and company should adopt plans for transitions to net zero emissions by 2050 and take decisive action now to put themselves on the right path.
L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
It is 5 years since the world came together in Paris to agree for the first time that every nation needs to play a part in tackling climate change. Some progress has been made, but not enough, according to the UN Secretary-General. Mr. Guterres will say economic pressure should be used to help curb emissions. It is time that those who pollute the atmosphere with greenhouse gases pay a price for that pollution, he will say. He will urge countries to end all subsidies for fossil fuels and will say that taxes should move from income to carbon. It is a bold agenda, putting tackling climate change at the very heart of the United Nations role. But the science is clear, the Secretary-General will say, unless the world reduces emissions, we face disaster. Justin Rolat, BBC News.
Well, a number of initiatives are trying to divert resources from coal to other types of energy. I'm joined now by Dennison from Coalfield Development, a non-profit organisation in southern West Virginia, which aims to rebuild the coal communities which have been hit hard by the collapse of the coal industry and pivot towards green energy resources. Thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. When you hear the UN chief say our planet is broken and that humanity is waging a suicidal war on nature, given coal is your bread and butter and that of your communities, what's your response?
Well, we see that the planet is broken here as well, mainly in the form of increased flooding disasters in our hills and hollers of Appalachia. And so the transition needs to happen, and the transition to cleaner energy, it is happening. Employment in the coal industry has been on a downward trajectory decade after decade, to the point that you really could not even fill up a college football stadium with the amount of people that work in the coal industry in our state of West Virginia now. So the transition is happening, and yet it's causing extreme socioeconomic distress. I mean, unemployment and poverty, obviously, but also the lack of dignity that comes with employment and the pride that comes with the employment in the coal industry of being able to power a country and a country's development. With that loss of dignity and that loss of identity, really, we see things like our substance use crisis set in and a fear and a hopelessness that it can be overcome, but it's going to have to take significant investment.
Brandon, you say that shift towards cleaner energy is inevitable, and yet it's having this kind of dramatic effect on the community there. Can something be done to reskill these people so that they can be part of the green revolution?
Yes, it can. And our organization is an example of this. We have a green collar construction program. We helped start the first solar installation company here in southern West Virginia. We have a sustainable agriculture company that we've started as well. So there's a lot of pain in the transition, and yet there are opportunities. There's new space for new development that's been created by the void left behind by the coal industry. It's just that to seize those opportunities at scale, we're going to need some investment. We're going to need some policy shifts.
And were you able to see those policy shifts? Because certainly that was something that the Trump administration had promised. And if not, then what is your message to the new administration?
Certainly in coal country, we've gotten mixed signals from the federal level, and administration changes play into that. So we need clear direction from the administration, and we need honesty that the coal industry is not going to come back to what it was, that the transition is happening, but also that there's opportunity in this transition, and that in fact we could make our communities more fair and more sustainable and more vibrant than what they were even in coal's biggest boom days. And
so you say that they actually do see themselves as part of the Green Revolution then?
Well, not fully. No, not yet. That work on the ground at the grassroots level, because we've gotten mixed signals, I think we've not had a clear strategy in coal country for how to seize this transition. But so from the top, we've not had a lot of support, but from the bottom up, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs just like myself who love this place. We love the beauty of the landscape. We love the vibrant culture. We're committed to staying here and helping our place realize its full potential. And so from the bottom up, I'm encouraged. Now we just need some support from the top. And when those come together, I think there's actually some real opportunity for coal country.
Brandon Dennison, thank you so much for joining us. Really fascinating listening to you.